Hey, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? Gracious good morning to you good people. It's your girl KB. You know what I do and you know why I do it. My allergies are killing me. You can see my eyes. I'm congested. Don't know what I got into. I think it's the dust because, as you can see, my office is pretty empty. I'm relocating to a different space today. So, yeah, there you have it. I think I kicked up some dust. So I'm scrubbing everything down. Everything's packed and I'm ready to go. That's ready to go for you folks. Yeah. Anywho, I'm going to get into part two of the statement I'm a spiritual person. Got into the God piece of that. Now, this is my observation for people who are claiming spirituality. For me, again, my observation. I see two levels of this statement in operation. One, I'm going to talk about the gung-ho. I'm a spiritual person. And this is the person that has the idea of what they want to do and how they want to do it, and are full tilt advocates. So much so that the advocacy has I want to say, an essence of takeover. And by that I mean people get into this mental and emotional place where they feel the endorphins kick in from doing a good deed, and they forget to, how do I put this, they forget to teach a man to fish. That part. It's like, I can do it for you and I can want it for you. But what do you get out of it once I'm gone? So there's that faction. And I know they mean well. Their heart is in the right place. It just gets away from them sometimes. So it's like, be mindful of your positioning in your advocacy. Be mindful of the spirituality in your practice. That part. Why am I doing this? What is the outcome? Who's in control of this? Those things. Now, then there's the other faction of the I'm a spiritual person that does nothing and talks about how people are dysfunctional, or the universe is just doing what the universe does, and they're just going to let things unfold. Well, how many people, including yourself, has to get hurt or impacted because you felt the need to let the universe unfold? Now I'm going to get real specific. I was talking about the political climate with someone yesterday, and I've repeatedly made the statement, there's no passivity in my resistance. I'm going to call you out. I'm going to hold you accountable for whatever silliness that you are putting out there. And by silliness, I mean the levels of racism that are being, socially acceptable. And I have to say that because we're allowing it. And, people get in a verbal uproar, but there's no action behind it. So as I'm talking to this person, I hear this classic statement. We need a leader. Now, if anything grinds my gears, it's that statement. You are the leader. If you recognize a need and you don't do anything, help me understand this. Where's the spirituality in action? So, yes, me being me, I call that out. Why do we need a leader? And it's like the people that we say are recognized as leaders are the people who have the ear of the press. These are the people who get the recognition and the accolades. Do they always represent you or your interest? And of course, how do I put this nicely? You know, the most quoted person when it comes to silliness and the insanity of racism is Dr. King. Why is that? Why is that? And I'm going to say that's become the idol that people worship. That has become the, I want to say, not the standard, but the representation of this is how we've overcome. So when I pointed out that most of the action that Dr. King took was premeditated, rehearsed, staged, and he became the scourge. But when I pointed out and named names of the people behind the scenes that got very little recognition, the person said, well, we were taught about Dr. King. Your oppressor can't teach you your history. Your oppressor is the individual that's trying to keep you in the dark. That is why it is incumbent upon you to learn at the feet of the people who experienced it. I had a cousin who marched in Birmingham, who lived in Birmingham. I shared that my father was born and raised in Birmingham. That part. I have family members, true story, I had a family archive, a family historian, true story. One of the individuals in this particular family, now this is my family story, got into a fight with a white gentleman in the area. They were about the same age. And I told you, my family is a bunch of, we'll stand up to what's right, and we'll teach you about it, even if that means laying on of hands. So this particular family member won the fight. By that night, his house was set ablaze with him in it. Other family members lived to tell the story. This is my history. I learned at the feet of the people who experienced it. I kept my ears and my eyes open. I've read about the history. And as I'm explaining that these acts were staged by Dr. King, and this person told me, well, you know, this is what I was taught. When do you move beyond what you're taught and told? And I explained that Rosa Parks wasn't the first person to refuse to give a seat. First person to ever do that was recorded was a teenager, 15-year-old Claudette Colvin. That was the first person. You don't hear her name mentioned too much. You don't hear James Baldwin mentioned too much other than when you're discussing literature. Then the civil rights piece comes in. You don't hear Bayard Ruskin mentioned too much. Two gay black gentlemen were the underpinnings of the civil rights movement. Stokely Carmichael got sick of being part of the passive resistance. Stokely went on to marry Miriam Makeba, who pretty much told the story of apartheid. Yeah, we have other folks who shared the story. Bob Marley. You don't hear about Marley too much other than about music. But there was a message in his music. When do we move beyond, this is what they told me, and get to a place of, this is what I know? And I mean that in the sense of spirituality. And I mean that in the sense of human rights. It is a right for everyone to have equal treatment. It is a right for everyone to have food. It is a right for everyone to have health care. But we use those for tools of manipulation and capitalism in this country. I know what it's like to be hungry. I know what it's like to miss a meal. I know what it's like to feel like your stomach is touching your spine at times. How many people in this country share that same experience? But because of how this country is, we've normalized it. And we're prone to yell that this is the greatest country in the world. And I'm posing the question, how can that be when many of us are experiencing what we call third world conditions?